Agenda West Side Beer.
So if you think about it, it's a lot like a meat lover's pizza. That's basically what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yummy.
That's kind of it. Hi.
Hey.
Welcome to the episode of Into the West Comics. My name is Frank. Sonny is here.
Halfway.
Sonny is halfway here. There he is. Oh,
hey.
Hey.
I guess I should put this on.
And once again,
Uh-oh.
do you want me to do hot dog region?
I mean, I don't want you to do my hot dog region.
No. Come on. Paul's here.
Hey, what up, y'all? Straight out of the hot dog region.
Oh, God.
And he's wearing a little, he's got like a retro throwback type of thing. One of the original versions of our Into the West Comics shirts there.
What it do?
Donovan is here.
Baby.
Nice.
What's Gucci?
Representing. Thank
I
you
got
so
the
much.
old school and the new school. So then
And
you got.
and you got the hat too.
little
Hat, too.
mixy matchy there.
Little,
That's great.
Yeah, back on there. There we go.
Match it.
Showbiz.
Guys, it's nice to see you. Variant is on assignment. He is not here this evening with us in the bungalow or otherwise.
What's he doing? What's he doing that's better than what we're doing tonight, Frank?
He's chilling.
All right.
He's hanging out.
I'll give him that.
I think he's playing Elden Ring or
I tried
Mario
playing
Brothers.
it. Like I tried playing Elden Ring, folks.
you couldn't get there.
I've put way
it's a
too
lot-
much time that I'm willing to admit into that game.
It's a lot of fun, but it's just so hard. It's just like, why do I put myself through this? It's like a masochist. Anyway, that's a whole other show.
So this week, the last couple of days, we all had an opportunity to see the first episode of the Plus's newest series, Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Sonny, what did you think of the first episode of Moon Knight? What were your reactions?
You know, I hate to say it, but I was like kind of meh.
Kind of meh.
I was like meh. You know, I really did not like the voice in his head that was going on. It reminded me too much of like Venom, and it was really annoying.
That's
I
not
don't
a
know.
good start.
Right. No, I don't know why. Khonshu, I get it. You know, we'll get.
Bless you.
Nice. I'm sure we'll get better scenes and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I was watching it, trying to like it as much as I wanted to, and I think I gave it like a 60%, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I think the costume looks cool.
Yeah.
That car or the truck chase scene was super heavy on the CGI.
Yeah,
and
it was.
It was.
It made me kind of upset, but I don't know. I guess I'm not hooked yet.
I'm going to do my review in my British accent because that's what Cameron asked for us to do. I have a terrible accent,
I
and
know, I'm, like, hating
Oscar
this right
Isaacs is...
Go ahead. No,
okay,
power
I'll
through.
stop.
No.
I'll stop. I got enough. The look Donovan gave me.
I didn't give anyone a look.
That's not true. Whoa. Sorry.
His accent was good.
I didn't mind.
Oh, that's.
I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't mind the voice thing. I think he had so many, like, he said every British like phrase or euphemism you could ever imagine in the episode.
Sure.
And it worked. I think it was like to like accentuate how British he is, but he's like calling people monkeys and stuff, and it's like it's crazy. Laters gators. It's like so much. It was pretty funny.
Laters gators.
Laters gators. But I think it worked. I think
he only says that to his mom when he's on the phone.
Twice?
With her,
yeah, he
right?
says it like 4 times. Though. Yeah,
Loves
but
his mom.
he says a lot of British
Stuff.
sayings. I liked it. I think it did a really good job of laying the groundwork for this guy who thinks he's someone, but really he's someone else. And then you kind of see that Mark Spector is like probably covering up those footprints when he gets back at night.
Mm-hmm.
He's replacing the fish because somehow he killed. Excuse me, he killed the fish.
You okay? Breathe, sir.
This guy loves fish.
Sometimes he somehow he getting choked.
It's emotional part.
He's a
over the
goldfish
fish.
activist.
And he
Goldfish
he
activist.
replaces the fish, and Steven's like, where's my fish at? This isn't my fish.
Yeah.
Um,
We're pissed. You killed fish. We're pissed.
okay, down.
Wow.
It's just him being an activist, a goldfish activist.
That's awesome.
I was about to cry. So
When I think,
Donovan, your thoughts?
That was
listen, I'll say a couple things. One,
nice.
I kind of get where Sonny's at as far as this is concerned, but Sonny, you're the type of guy that if there's not extreme action blowing up right out of the gate, it's hard for you to like grab a hold, right?
yes, kind of.
Yeah, like, I
fair
can totally
enough.
understand that. And that episode didn't have a whole lot of action in it.
Didn't.
But I thought it was okay. I thought that was fine. I thought the pacing of this, the start of this was excellent. We get an understanding of who this character is. I love the opening scene of Ethan Hawke's character putting glass in the shoe.
Dude,
And then,
sketch.
spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet, but he puts the shoe on and he starts walking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this
So-
sort of character, this sort of pacing is wonderful. Like, I
apparently
can't wait
that
for this.
that was Ethan Hawke's idea. They were like giving them a lot of freedom with how to develop their character and what they think is like a good way to like accentuate who that guy is. And Ethan Hawke was like, "What if this is a thing he does?" And I think it works really well.
Characters are really
that
is a
creepy
one-off character from the Moon Knight comics, so they're really trying to give Ethan Hawke sort of like some liberty as far as developing the backstory and background to this story. The original Arthur Harrow from the comics is like a Nazi scientist.
Yeah.
This Arthur Harrow, according to Ethan Hawke, I think he said that it's going to be more like in the vein of like a David Koresh type of thing,
Heaven's
with
Gate.
having followers and all those
That's the
things.
vibe I got.
Culty vibes.
What did you
What I-
guys
I
think
loved
with the comparison of just all of the different things with reflection, the symbolism that was in the show?
So I loved what they did as far as the him going, "You got to let me take over." Oh, this idiot! Like, oh, I gotta just stop. And then he rolls his eyes back, and then all of a sudden he wakes up, and there's dead bodies around him, or he got out of a situation. I love that we saw that in the first episode instead of seeing what happens when he closes his eyes, because when that does happen, and we get to see what happens when he's full Moon Knight and he's taking out 6 guys at once, it's going to be epic. So I thought it was wonderful that they teased that for us in this episode. And even like at the end too, like when we see him in his full costume and he walks towards the camera and it cuts to black, you're like,
Looks cool.
yeah, I want more.
You know, I wish that the costume. I think I found my gripe with the costume. I think it's good, but there's like something about it every time I look at it. I think I personally wish that it was a little bit whiter. Like it was a little more bright white.
Oh, so sort of like a off-white
Yeah, I
cream
don't-
color. 'cause it's
Yeah,
kinda
I
full
wish.
coverage.
I don't know. I feel like it would pop more. It looks. I don't know.
Do you think it'll pop more once the moon is full and he's under the
Yeah,
moon?
maybe. And I don't
Maybe.
know. But I do think. I'm not saying the costume isn't good. I'm saying like something about it isn't popping. And I think maybe if it was a little brighter of a white, it might. But that's just my opinion. I really agree with you. I think they did a really good job of pacing this episode and giving us what we needed in this episode, but not giving us like. I almost used a phrase I didn't want to use. Not giving us all in the first episode and not having anything else to wait for. Like we're not like, oh, I saw what I needed to see after this first episode, and then we're not. This wasn't the climax of the show, so we're
Right.
not like, well, it's all downhill from here. We have stuff to build to, and I think that's
do you think, Sonny? Do you think that there's going to be some type of jumping around as far as these different personalities? Mr. Knight, you have the cab driver, Jake Elliott, I think is his name, the character's name, and Spectre, of course, and Steven.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're trying to show you that this guy is definitely trying to kind of create some type of balancing act.
Right.
I don't think Stephen Grant is actually talking to anyone. he's leaving voicemails and whatever else. This is
Same
something.
here.
This is something that Mark Spector has put into his mind that, or Khonshu has manipulated him to where he's thinking that he's conducting like a normal life.
Yeah.
Right.
But they all are going to have some type of relationship to ultimately Egyptian history
Right.
and what's taking place involving that museum and involving
So
the
cool.
artifacts and the history.
Right.
And I think that that's a cool thing. They shot this movie. They didn't shoot this movie in London. I think they shot it in another. I'm trying to think of the name of the country that they shot it in. But they totally redid the front of the museum when they were shooting the film. They did a good job with the way the aspect ratio was. He's
Yes.
talking. He's always talking to someone. No one is actually speaking to him.
Right.
You know, unless they're talking. Like the manager of the museum is like, she's calling him Stevie, and she's talking down to him.
Right.
Anything he brings up or mentions, like details about anything,
Right.
she just cuts him off. He's talking to the statue guy outside who doesn't talk,
Right.
and he's leaving voicemails to someone that
He's
I mean,
definitely
he might
gonna-
be sending postcards to himself. We don't even
Right.
know.
I think that the gold mime guy is going to be a bigger part of this for sure.
Yeah.
For
I think
sure.
that's-
I think it's Crawley.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Crawley is like one of the iterations of Moon Knight. I think it's one of the more recent ones. He starts off in a mental hospital and he's trying to escape, and he finally escapes. And Khonshu's like, "No, you're this." He's like, "No, they're telling me I'm this." He's like, "No, but you're this." And Crawley's one of the guys that's in there with him.
Okay.
And he looks very, very similar to the
Super
guy that was in the
similar,
gold thing.
yeah.
So that's what I would think. One of the things that I also really loved about this episode was we got to see how lonely Mark was, or not
Mhm.
Mark, but Steven was.
Yeah.
That plays into like him being left alone from his date. Like there was no date.
I love
Him
the
going
date
home to his
thing.
apartment. Him always talking to his mom. No one really liking him where he works. He is
Right.
ultimate lonely. So the other two beings, and when in Khonshu as well, I think he's gonna learn to accept that these are a part of him, and he doesn't
Right.
have to feel alone.
Right.
Like he
Oh,
can
that's
have
nice.
all these personalities, and that he can accept them and not feel alone, and learn to live with all three identities. Perhaps.
They have a lot of
Who
ground
knows?
to cover with. I mean, they've only 5 episodes.
I know
left.
that's the
I mean,
only
there's
thing
a
that I'm
6
worried about
episode
with this
series.
show is because when
That's
you're
that's going to be the challenge.
this story is extremely complicated as far as who is
Right.
who, what's the goal, why are they doing this. So I'm hoping that they stick the landing by episode 6, because it could get really muddled and really
Get
goofy
really
and
messy.
confusing. Because even when I read Moon Knight now, I go, okay, hang on, I got to go back like three more pages just to make sure I got this correct. here.
Right.
I heard an interesting theory that I hope it's not this, but I thought it was an interesting theory that
I'm excited.
this is a show that has been produced within the MCU, and this is like a show that people in the MCU watch.
Huh.
Yeah, this is getting a little too much.
I mean, it's not, because they were talking about how it's not super connected and it's not exactly in the MCU, the Marvel universe as we
But I think
know
they
it.
backed off.
They
that,
backed off that.
did say
They
it
put
was
They
some,
part
really-
of
they
the
put
MCU.
something
Okay.
out. They're
Well,
like, it's connected.
But do
I
you think
thought-
it could be
It's all
what's?
connected.
Do you think it'd be Darcy watching like she was watching the first
That-
episode
yeah.
of WandaVision?
that would be pretty
That'd be good.
cool.
But like I
That'd be
said,
pretty cool.
I don't want it to be that. I think that's kind of a fun thing to think about. Like, will they do that
What
at some
if-
point? They
yeah.
kind of did with WandaVision.
Yeah.
But I do think, I think I'm interested to see how they do all the interconnected personalities over the 6 episodes. Will Stephen Grant kind of fall off and we'll see more Mark Spector, or will it
Hope
be
so.
just those two? Because I don't know, like, I'm not as knowledgeable as you may think about Moon Knight. I'm kind of along for the ride with like more like the layman, because I just haven't really read Moon Knight.
Right.
So I'm excited to see where this goes and to see like what kind of where we end up and what the character does, because I don't really know what's gonna happen.
Moon Knight's he's a lot of fun. His mouth is probably second best to Deadpool
I
in
know
the
all
MCU
the memes
to me,
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because he says some
Some
he talks
crazy
some
stuff.
crap.
Yeah,
he
he
talks
says
some
some
real crap,
crazy
and it is
stuff.
hilarious. And then he
Yeah.
backs it up really, really well too.
Yeah.
This is, of course, Mark Spector.
The
Who
only Moon Knight stuff I've ever personally read is there's a couple of like crossovers with him and the Spectre.
Mm.
Or not the Spectre, excuse me. The Sentry. The Sentry. And there's like some interesting interactions with him and them. And those are the only things I've really read pertaining to Moon Knight. Those are good. But like I said, I'm excited to see where this goes.
He fights Deadpool in a House of Mirrors
Yeah.
and then chops him up, bounces, and he was like, I needed that.
Yeah, dude.
it's pretty
Good
pretty
stuff.
cool. I like it.
Well, we're gonna have to see what kind of payoff we get. And as far as really quick, we want to touch on the as far as it being a more violent or their version of a Netflix type of show for Marvel. Do we think that we're actually going to get that, or is this just going to be a Disney show that's kind of spooky, quote unquote?
I don't know, because when I signed on, like it made me like do like the MA
I
thing, and I had to put a
accidentally-
pin and all that kind of stuff.
I accidentally like selected TV 14 only, so I had to go back and like figure out how to change it in the settings.
Right.
And because it like wasn't letting me watch it, I was like, oh
It was
my
just
God.
very strange to see like, oh, TVMA warning on like Disney Plus in the corner. I was like, this is interesting,
It's a
but
good sign.
we don't know.
Yeah, it's a very good sign. That
know.
means that they're learning to embrace that, stories have to be telling their
right.
full capacity. However, I did see something on Twitter. I don't know if it's fake or not, but someone did a side-by-side comparison of like the original version versus the
Falcon
Disney
and the
Plus
Winter
version.
Soldier or something.
Yeah, there was like a ton of blood in it, and then it wasn't. I question the legitimacy of the article because there was some
Deep
pretty gnarly stuff that still happened in Falcon and Winter
Yeah,
Soldier.
I
They
don't-
didn't
It's-
edit it.
it's
I mean, how many
bashing
people?
dude's head with a
how,
shield.
how often do
Yeah.
you guys go back and rewatch those shows?
None of those.
Loki's the only one that I've rewatched twice.
Yeah, I don't.
I've
so-
rewatched WandaVision, I've rewatched the Loki, and I've rewatched
WandaVision would be fun to rewatch.
Hawkeye. WandaVision is a lot more fun to watch it in one
And it's in
sitting.
full entirety, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Instead of week to week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we had the first couple episodes like really short.
Well, yeah,
they're like
yeah.
25
And
minutes.
and they led nothing to the story other than like the Nexus
Setting the,
commercials and
yeah.
then like little Easter eggs.
Well, it seems like they're going back and forth with like releasing one episode or releasing multiple. Because now we just got Obi-Wan. They're supposed to be doing 2-episode release.
Yeah, but they're also pushing it 2 days later after the Wednesday. So they're probably like, hey, as our way of saying like, sorry for pushing the date, we're going to give you an extra episode, which is something Warner Brothers doesn't do with any of their stuff.
No, they give us more
No, they go, hey, we're going to
questions
cancel this and we'll see what happens.
That's accurate.
That's
Figured
pretty
out.
much-
You have to suffer.
It's pretty much a plan, and when we talk about something that doesn't have a plan, it seems that we're talking about Warner Brothers and
sucks.
and the DCEU.
That really does suck.
We mentioned all the personalities that the Moon Knight may have.
Yes.
Seems like we're dealing with an actor who might be dealing with some type of personality disorder.
Yeah, what
in
the heck is going on, man?
the Flash himself, Mr. Ezra Miller, getting into trouble once again.
Your favorite Flash.
So I know that it was at a karaoke bar. What exactly happened? Because after
have
this,
no idea.
after the Oscars slap, I give oh no, honestly, I give no, like, I could care less about what these guys do in Hollywood
No, yeah.
extracurricularly or who they're assaulting, because you know what, at the end of the day, these guys make way more money than most
Yeah.
people in the world, and they have no idea, they don't have a clue
Yeah.
of what actually is grounded to reality and how
Right.
reality works,
So-
because everyone gives them everything. So in the case of Ezra Miller, I don't know what happened to him. What
so
happened?
kind of, I'm not exactly sure what happened with Miller, but kind of the point that you're talking about is like Tom Segura was kind of talking about the Will Smith thing, and he was like, it's a good example of like the way celebrities act are. He used to work as like a valet, and these dudes would park their like Mercedes or high-end cars in a spot that just isn't a spot.
right.
And the valet dude would be like, hey, that's not a spot. And then the rich dude would be like, oh, but there was no other spots close. And then he would go inside. And it's
Right.
like, that's the kind of mentality
crazy.
that those people have. And they don't even realize that they have
No.
it. Because
Right.
that kind of seems like what's happening with Ezra Miller.
Here's
It's
a funny.
also
I have a
kinda
funny
crazy.
Vegas story for you guys. So I used to work at Starbucks. I worked there for 9 years.
Nice.
And there were 2 celebrities that came in. One was more predominant than the other. Oh, sorry, 3. There was a UFC fighter and then 2 local celebrities here in town. So Forrest
Sick.
Griffin would come in,
Nice.
get his Americano. Penn Jillette would come in and get his iced decaf Americano with 4 shots. And then there was another guy who came in.
Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro. I don't know why he sounds like that, but he doesn't. But there was another guy who came in who's only a Vegas celebrity. He's only a Vegas celebrity, and he's like a B-list Vegas celebrity. Frank might not know. Frank might know who it is, and Quan might know who it is. But it was Clint Holmes.
Oh yeah, another guy.
Clint Holmes came in,
no,
and I go, "Oh wow, Clint Holmes, good to see you." And he goes like this. He goes, "Shh." Like he didn't want anyone to know that Clint Holmes was in Starbucks. I was like, "Bro, you're Clint Holmes." So to speak to your point, yes,
They have
these
just
guys,
an
they have
ego
this
about them,
aura
yeah.
about them that is like, I am somebody, treat me like I'm somebody. And
Flash.
it's super like blah.
Right.
So when you hear things like I had a friend of mine who was a stunt double for Nicolas Cage. And he said that he worked on a project with J.K. Simmons. He said J.K. Simmons, everyone knows who he is. Everyone on set knew who he was, and he introduced himself to everybody on set. Hi, I'm J.K. Simmons. Nice to meet you. And he was the most humble and most nice person. Those are the stories that you really love to hear about celebrities. Now, Ezra, man, I don't know what the heck is going on.
So there was a situation, I don't know if it was right when COVID was happening or in the midst of COVID, with a fan, a female fan. He choked her.
Oh.
And there was...
Like, straight up.
He lunged at her, and he put his hands...
True hand
He put his hands around her neck, and he pinned her against a trash bin.
Sounds like some Euphoria crap. What the?
Okay, so that's
that was
situation one.
That was a thing a couple years ago.
Okay.
What was the aftermath of
In
that?
Hawaii,
I have no idea.
He's rich. Probably nothing.
I think it was on Sunday. He was at a karaoke bar, and there was a couple singing the lady singing "Shallow," the Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper thing, "Shallow."
Okay.
And it set him off. The guy apparently, it was a couple. The guy was playing darts. Ezra Miller lunged at the guy, either pushed or hit the woman. This couple.
It was an assault.
It was assault.
Sounds like battery.
A lot of that going around.
No, keep going. No, it's not. That's not it.
This is a thing with this guy to where he's lashing out at people and
making what's like snips on. We did.
So-
we were watching the videos on YouTube.
So
and
he had
there's like
the thing where he was talking about the KKK.
and saying the KKK sucks.
and
He's
it
like,
was
I'm
very
gonna kill the
clearly-
members.
Yeah, it was very clearly like he was like his PR team was like, or he thought. I'm sure his PR team is smarter than that. Maybe not. Was like,
Doubtful.
you know, what would be a good thing if you made a video just talking crap about KKK, saying you're gonna fight him, and it was just so disingenuous.
like
and it's
virtue signaling.
It's like, yeah, exactly. And it's like nobody likes a KKK dude. Nobody, but
We get it.
But you're also
hang on, not everybody.
you're just fishing for oh my god, you're just fishing for something. And honestly, he used to be like a quirky, like weird dude, whatever,
Right.
and it'd be like, oh, and you just make some fun of him, whatever. But now it legitimately seems like there is something wrong, and he needs to be punished for these things if
Yeah.
they are in fact true.
Yeah.
And secondly, he needs to get help.
That's the thing. First off, the man is on a tangent. It's seemingly like
like
you
a
need
drug
some
problem.
help.
He's
You need some
battling
help.
some
That's what
stuff.
I
Some
said
help.
in the comments.
You're making
He's battling something.
$1 dollars now, whatever. But the main fact is, do you or do you not think this guy should be replaced as the Flash moving forward?
I don't know how you
could just make another movie. They're good at doing that. They're
just using scenes without him.
Well,
and
they
then
did it kind of
replacing
with
him.
Tig Notaro, or is that her name? Or
Tig Notaro in the Army of the Dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they just completely replaced her with and I thought it
Dalia-
was
Dalia
kind of
got
jarring.
replaced.
Yeah, they replaced Chris D'Elia with her.
Chris
Yeah,
D'Elia,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and there's just
It was very strange.
they could definitely do it. I don't know if they will. It's very strange though. And another example of this is Tim Miller in the Ready Player One. He plays one of the like henchman kind of characters, and he has his avatar. He was originally supposed to have parts in that movie where he was just Tim Miller or T.J. Miller.
T.J. Miller.
T.J. Miller,
T.J.
yeah.
Miller.
He got in a bunch of trouble.
T.J.
too.
Hooker.
And they left the parts with him
Penile.
as his avatar in it, but took any parts with him like as a person in it.
Yeah, his voice is still in it.
$20,
Yes,
my
true.
good sir.
And it's just I don't know what the course of action is. It seems like this Flash movie keeps getting pushed back. It's supposed to come out in what, like 2016?
I'm not
Wow.
sure.
Something
that
crazy.
far.
2018.
Something
Yeah, I
crazy
think
like that.
2018.
And it's just he's not
Still
doing
not
himself
out.
any favors.
Delays.
And he seems like we make fun of Jared Leto a lot, but Jared Leto,
We do.
for all intents and purposes,
Factual.
I haven't seen him do anything like legitimately criminal. He's
Oh, I
just a
thought you were gonna
weird
say
dude who's
bad.
not a
No,
great
I
actor.
think that
Jared
Leto's
Leto
good
seems like
actor.
a more
I mean,
intense version of
Right.
this.
Yeah, Jared Leto's Jared Leto's the kind of guy who's just he's eccentric. He's
Yeah.
just an eccentric person, and he
Right.
knows control.
Right.
Sounds to me like Ezra Miller
Needs
may
help.
or may not have control. It sounds like he needs help. I wish him the best. I wish he finds the help that he needs.
Yeah.
He is
Absolutely.
he is a Warner Brothers guy. He's a Warner Brothers guy. He's going to be in the next Fantastic Beasts film. He's been in all three of those movies.
He
right?
has.
He's playing a character in something that DC and Warner Brothers are banking a lot on is the success of this film,
Dude.
and you are putting a lot of weight behind based on how this movie performs. It's huge for what they start to do going forward.
I agree.
If they can't keep pressing the reset button, Sonny, and it feels like they keep
That's what they keep
starting
doing.
over, and it seems at this point that they've got to make a choice. Are you going to replace the actor and just move on and
See,
wash your hands of it.
What they could do, and he seems like a stand-up guy, is the CW Flash.
Grant Gustin.
Grant Gustin.
Yeah.
He's a cool actor. I like him as the Flash. They've already done some like multiversal kind of
He
stuff with the
crossed over
CW.
into an episode.
He went
of
into the
series.
episode.
Yeah, that's interesting.
If something like that happened and we had to transition into another Flash, I would choose Grant.
I have not watched the Flash show very
At
much,
all?
if at all.
Oh.
I've seen snippets of it and
Okay.
stuff like that. I caught an episode or two.
He's good, dude.
Some
but,
snips.
Little
even
snips.
saying that, I would rather have him. He seems like for all the faults of those CW shows, he doesn't ever seem to be the complaint.
No.
And so why not?
Here's the one thing that I have. I mean, I have many problems with Warner Brothers and what DC is doing, but these guys have scrapped and have gone on record saying we are scrapping Zack Snyder's Justice League and all his DC characters that are involved.
So
But
dumb.
they still keep making movies with his characters that he create. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, how are you going to say, like, we don't need Zack Snyder anymore, but we'll take your characters.
Yeah, we'll take all your
We'll take
work.
all the stuff that you worked on. So, like, to me, Flash doesn't make sense. Like, who knows what's going to happen? And, you know, someone said in the comments, also heard the Flash test screening was well received. That's awesome. I hope it's well received. But again, in the grand scheme of things, Warner Brothers really does, like, they announced officially that Henry Cavill is not coming back as Superman.
Oh, really?
So he's not coming back, and he's being replaced with Supergirl. That is going to be the new Superman going forward. He's done. He's done.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's
It's an exclusive. He's
Right.
done. He's not
Hot
coming back
take.
as Superman.
So
he
is-
only got one Superman movie. And if you say that Batman versus Superman is a Superman movie, please slap yourself in the face, because it's not. It's
So Will
just
Smith
not.
will do it.
Yeah.
Oh. I was wondering if we were going to talk about that at all.
Also
but-
a Warner guy.
So
kind of.
so from and then we're still getting a Deadshot show. Like
Yeah,
we're
that'd be
like
pretty cool.
what are we what is it just about making
I
really
yeah.
good stories and money, or is it about making like I just get I stop getting angry at Warner Brothers and now I just get sad.
Here's how
I get
critical.
really sad.
Here's how critical it is for us, Donovan. Is that we could have a year's worth of subpar to bad Marvel films, and we would still be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Everything hangs on DC having something successful, Paul.
Absolutely.
and we were talking
Sad.
about something a little bit earlier with the Snyderverse stuff and how like Quan and I were kind of talking about how it's like people get on the internet to slander Matt Reeves the Batman, not because they didn't like it, but because they want Ben Affleck to be Batman. Newsflash. Watch any interview Ben Affleck has been in over the past 12 months. He does not want to do that
He's
anymore.
not coming back.
I watched his Ben Affleck talks about his iconic roles thing from I think
Vanity
it's GQ,
Fair.
Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
Did he
and
mention Batman? He didn't.
Yeah,
No,
they
no,
mentioned-
no. They talk about it,
Yeah.
and he says, "I wanted to do this
For my kids.
I wanted to have
Yeah.
fun with it. It was fun, and then as it went on, I have no desire to do this anymore." He says that
He
in the
said-
video,
He even goes into he says it just wasn't fun
and
anymore.
yet he has people hounding him on a daily basis to get back in it. He doesn't want to. You want
it's
someone
gonna
who
be good.
doesn't want to do it to do it.
The product isn't going to be good.
Right.
You know?
And that was abundantly clear in the Justice League, where he clearly didn't want to be a part of that production.
Yeah.
And it was obvious from his acting.
Sounds like no one
And
wanted to be a part of that.
exactly.
production.
And
Pretty
it's
much.
it's a weird like tornado of Warner Brothers making weird decisions, the fans getting stuck on weird stuff instead of just letting them move forward. And like it seems like we can't move on from the Snyderverse and actually try to do something different because people keep bringing it back to it. And then like with the Oscars, people were acting like it won an Oscar because of that vote poll or whatever. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's the thing. So I
I'm
was
like,
talking with
what?
somebody on Twitter. He's someone I really like a lot. His name is Nico. He hosts the Vintage 1939
I've
podcast.
seen that guy. Yeah.
Wonderful guy. He's got some great stuff out there. Go check their show out. They're great. Check out ours first, and then go check out their stuff. But him and I were going back and forth on Twitter, and I wonder, what does DC do behind the scenes with their talent that what does Marvel do with their talent behind the scenes besides pay them boatloads of money that DC isn't doing. Because when you get
gotta be
Marvel
something.
cast members
Gotta
together,
be something.
they're like family. They
Yeah.
can't wait to be with each other. It's like
Right.
summer camp when they go film these movies with each other, and they are so excited.
It's not like Warner Brothers doesn't have money.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got
exactly.
all the money,
They
dude.
have money.
Even with toys and animation, like they still have it. But at the same time, you get these other actors who kind of seem like they're in it for themselves, with the
yeah.
exception of Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
And I would even go as
Gal
far
Gadot.
as to saying, I don't know.
You think? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. That whole Imagine song was very weird when it first came out.
It was.
Oh, I barely remember that.
Yeah, so
Well, no, it does.
it's
It
all about
seems
helping the
very. I've never
brand.
even thought about that because like there was so much drama with like the actor that played Cyborg and
yep,
like
Ray
there's-
Fisher was like,
there
I'm
was
out of here.
So
You guys
much
don't.
beef, and then like you see like everybody else on Marvel on the red carpet, and they're like buying each other cars and like
They all, the original six Avengers all have
They're
tattoos with
tats,
each other
dude.
because they're so. That is that
it's
ensemble
a symbol.
feel.
I think it says a symbol.
It
I
says
think.
yeah, or an A or something. I don't know, but they got
think it's a-
tattoos with
So-
each other. So then you got guys like Ezra Miller gets arrested, Ray Fisher
Hates everybody.
They're racist to him on
Yeah.
set. Henry Cavill's like, hey guys, I read all these stories. Do you guys want any of my input? And they're like, shut up, Henry.
Should be buff,
And then
dude.
Ben Affleck, and they're like, Ben, we'll do anything. He's like, I'm
I
out
don't
of
want
here.
it.
You guys are like,
I don't
know
want to
what
do
I wanna
this.
do with you.
They're like, please do it.
Yeah,
So,
and then they're like, it's just so. And then Jason Momoa's like, where do you want me to stand? Right there.
sick.
Chill! Like he's just ready. So there.
Really
it's-
good Jason Momoa, by the
That
way.
was
Thank you. I
good.
appreciate that. I've been
good.
working on it. So this, I haven't.
No, I didn't
Clearly, I have not been working on my Jason Momoa.
All the viewers. We
But-
gotta,
and then-
we gotta
but-
censor that out.
But I do think that the guy. Hang on, I know that was a lot. That was a lot to take in at the moment.
He's been working on his Jason Momoa. He said,
Here's the deal.
"Yes,
James,
tell me the
I
deal."
do think that James Gunn could be the savior for DC.
I think so too.
What he's done with Peacemaker, what he did with Suicide Squad,
Really
dude,
fun.
You see the Suicide Squad, and you see that
Awesome.
those guys were all having fun with each other.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that Marvel was doing. He understands ensemble pieces, and these are ensemble pieces.
Okay, so another just a follow up question then: does James Gunn need to make one of the more mainstay type characters make their film?
I would love for him to do a Superman.
He needs to do whatever he wants to do, and I think that's important. I hate you.
Man.
I'm so white, my handprints are on there. Anyway,
Anyways,
What?
We've lost all.
What's going on?
so
good TV.
I think
true.
Marvel
It's
is
true.
like, honestly, at the end of the day, there is some luck involved. The guys
Sure.
who are producing and making all these Marvel films, their vision, for the most part, aligns with what the audience wants. And they get people involved. Like, people say it's all studio driven with Marvel. I mean, it is, but
Cool.
also the people who are involved in these projects are the people who want to be involved with these projects. Chloe Zhao is an example. Peyton Reed taking over the Ant-Man. He wasn't just I guess we'll have him directed, even
right.
though it wasn't, what's the gentleman? Edgar Wright. It wasn't going to be him anymore, but they were like, all right, let's find a director who's actually going to plug and play,
Right.
not one who's just grab one out of thin air, like something like
Well,
Joss
not only
Whedon or
that,
something.
but in the case of Ant-Man, they had Paul Rudd as all these guys are producers on their own movies as well. And then they were like, Paul Rudd, can you and Adam McKay help write this?
Right.
We got the bones from Edgar Wright, but can you help write this? And he's like, sure, I'll help you guys write
Yeah,
this.
it
Like,
seems-
how does that not make you go, yes, you're part of this team. You can
Because
have
you're
a seat at the
well,
table.
because you're
Yeah.
invested in it. Then.
Yeah, exactly.
But not all of these guys are going to have that creative. I don't know.
It's a lot of egos
It is.
in DC to me.
It is. And I don't think that if you're not buying into the vision, I think that you try to just cash in.
Sure.
And ultimately you just
Sure.
say, well, let's just make this movie. Maybe there'll be another one or a sort of sequel or follow up. And then we'll just see, like they greenlit a third Wonder Woman. I mean, is anybody going to see, is anybody excited to see a third Wonder Woman?
I'm not excited. I have hope it could be good because
She's
of Patty
attractive,
Jenkins.
but I mean, I don't know if I really want to see
it's Patty Jenkins for me that makes me go, it could be good. Because everything
hope.
Patty Jenkins has ever done, with the exception of Wonder Woman 2, has been fantastic. Monsters, the first Wonder Woman movie. So I am giving Patty Jenkins a mulligan on the Wonder Woman 84 for me. Yeah, as much as I hate that movie and don't think it's very good. I think Patty Jenkins is great and can still make a good Wonder
Isn't
Woman
she
movie.
also out of the Rogue Squadron as well?
She pulled out of that project.
They had that big like thing. She walks up to an X-wing, and they took. Star Wars does that crap a lot too.
Yeah,
And I don't know if that's even in development anymore.
I don't think it
Yeah,
is.
that
I
sucks.
don't think that's a thing anymore.
Yeah.
So scale of 1 to 10, Sonny, how important is it to you that The Flash is a success?
To me,
Not necessarily box office money wise, but how
but
how
for
important
the greater
that it's
things?
a good movie, and then people are like, "Oh, I'm excited," and
For the future.
I think if they don't knock this out of the park, everything they do is just going to be a joke. I think they're so far behind, especially with this whole multiverse stuff that's going on. If this isn't good and we don't get like a cool Flashpoint something, you know what I mean? I don't think they're going to be successful at all. They're way too far behind. And especially with this guy running around in this suit,
Doesn't help.
It does not help
No.
at all.
Right.
Like, so I don't know, man. I if we saw Tom Holland running around getting into fights at tiki bars, you know what I mean? It'd be like,
true.
it would be a
Right.
completely different story, you know? So I don't know, man.
Yeah, but instead he's wearing Spider-Man costumes and going into hospitals for children.
Right.
There's a difference.
yeah, dude.
You know, for me, how much does it matter to me if this movie is a success? I'm at like a 1 out of 10. I don't care.
Okay.
It just doesn't matter to me at this point. I have the Batman movies, Matt Reeves and his little universe that he's building. I have whatever James Gunn is doing. I don't care. I've never been a fan of the Snyderverse, and I don't want to say I want it to be bad for the people involved, but I feel like if it is bad, we can let it, like, people will just let it go, and we
Right.
can move on to the other things that have been produced well. And I mean, the Snyderverse was so polarizing, and that is the reason why we were at the place we're at with DC.
Yeah.
Whether you love Snyderverse or hate it, it's impossible not to admit that for whatever reason, maybe it was studio involvement, maybe it was Snyder's vision didn't align with what a lot of the fans wanted to see, maybe it was a combination of all those things. It was very polarizing, and it drove them to change the Justice League movie, because Batman vs Superman is polarizing. There's no other way to explain it, and that was him, and he did all that. That seems for the most part, especially the Ultimate Cut, to be his vision, and they went so backwards on it because the response to that was so low that they did a weird thing with Justice League, and then they were like, "Oh, we don't want to do that anymore." You know what I'm saying? There was such inconsistency with the
mess.
production.
Yeah.
It was a
Literally
mess.
is a mess.
And I'm hard pressed not to blame Zack Snyder,
Yeah.
but I mean, at the end of the day, how did we get to where we are? His vision wasn't exactly what everyone wanted to see,
Right.
and it had an effect on the rest of the movies.
Yeah, they greenlight something that they weren't totally on board with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were like, okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
How important is it for you for this movie to be a success? Scale of 1 to 10.
I think it's everything. I think it's a 10.
It's a 1 to 10. You give it in everything.
Yeah, this is the make or break moment for DC
I
movies
think
as far as I'm
it's
concerned.
critical.
Because
I agree.
Marvel already beat DC to the multiverse game, and DC in the comics has owned the multiverse game
Dude.
longer than Marvel has. So the fact that Marvel has beat DC to a multiverse before them that's crazy. That
Yeah.
means to me that Marvel owns them now, because now they're like, oh, we have a multiverse.
Yeah, we have it too.
We're gonna have it in Flash.
And that's the weirdest thing that I always go back to is DC has literal blueprints of good material. Follow the blueprint.
And that's another reason why
and it'll be good.
I think the Marvel films initially succeeded. We kind of talked about it a little bit. They have kind of gone away from it. They are kind of taking the stories and making them their own
Right.
at this point. But in the beginning, it was very, okay, this is the story. We might change some specifics about characters, but we're telling the stories that you know and love from the books,
Right.
and we're translating them.
Right.
DC started, we're going to turn it on its head and do some different stuff with it. I know, me personally, I didn't want different stuff.
No.
I wanted to see the Batman and Superman that I love together, not some twisted, different version of them where they're different characters. Maybe if that's what you wanted, that's fantastic. But I feel like that wasn't what a lot of people wanted to see, and it's why this universe has gone into shambles.
To clarify, you're thinking more along the lines of what you wanted to have seen with Batman Superman would be more like a World's Finest.
Exactly.
Pairing.
Dude,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and the whole thing with
Literal
Flash
blueprint.
Flash being important, and then so then it's done very, very well. We still don't have Superman anymore. We have Supergirl. We don't have.
She's in the movie, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming
We don't.
She's gonna be in the
Should
movie.
have
We
to
don't.
be.
I
We
think
probably
so.
won't have Batman anymore. We'll have Batgirl. I'm not saying.
No, you're right. I mean,
And
I'm
it
not
has
saying
nothing to do
It has nothing
shared
to do with the
universe.
female
no,
or any of that sort of
it's
stuff.
the
fact that
characters that they represent. They are not Batman and Superman.
They didn't.
Understood.
They didn't get Clark Kent right. They didn't get Bruce Wayne right.
and that's the two that you,
That's the foundation you set so that Supergirl and Batgirl have amazing stories going
Right.
forward. It's because of their legacy
Right.
that they're able. And I know
They're
some of you are probably
literally
saying,
called legacy characters. That is what they are.
"Bingo!" That's what I'm saying. It's the whole reason why. When in Black Mirror, while Dick Grayson is Batman, Black Mirror is
Black Mirror
is
is-
incredible, and Bruce is not in it.
Nope. And
At all.
Right.
it was the catalyst for Snyder,
Right.
Scott Snyder, that is, taking over the
Corral?
Batman reigns and telling Bruce Wayne Batman stories.
yes.
So they're giving us legacy characters, but they've left no legacy.
Okay,
Wow,
so
that's
to
pretty-
kind of touch
yeah.
on the way the comics did it a little bit more. So to give some context to the Black Mirror, Dick Grayson is Batman in Gotham
Right.
because Grant Morrison's run, Batman is dealing with Batman Incorporated
Yeah.
all over the world. So
Right.
Gotham needed a Batman, and
Right.
there's a whole Damian Wayne or Dick Grayson arc. Who's going to do that? And you know what that was? Grant Morrison built up the character of the Batman in the beginning of his run,
Yep.
had him have the child with Talia, Damian Wayne, built to these legacy characters, had him dealing with Dick Grayson and all these other people, and spun it into something interesting so we could enjoy those legacy
100%.
characters while still getting what we want from our pillars.
Right.
And that just is not what is happening with the movies right
My
now.
my concern is that DC's trying to beat Marvel in the virtue signaling game. As far as we have Superman and Batman as females. What do you have?
Yeah.
And Marvel's like, we just want to tell really good stories
Yeah.
that are relevant and progressive.
and I mean,
Like,
in a sense, though, too,
You know
is
what
that they are
No, yeah, it's
they're
true, dude.
addressing a progressive audience and kind of passing of the torch, in that they're bringing up these younger characters taking over mantles
Right.
of certain iconic characters or characters that are different races and gender.
Talking about Marvel, right?
Marvel is already
And they're doing a
they're-
fantastic job.
They're
of it.
kind of
they're
doing that
pacing
already.
themselves.
The biggest problem for me with the Flash is the amount of questions that you're still going to have. We still don't.
Yeah.
I still really don't know what we're going to be getting out of this. We don't have anybody really identified as, like you're saying, the big trinity, because we've lost Cavill, we've lost Affleck. They're not bringing Pattinson over to be
No.
Batman in
Nope.
these
Ray
films.
Fisher's not coming back as
Ray
Cyborg
Fisher's not
anytime
gonna be
soon.
Cyborg.
And Gal Gadot is not holding it. She's not holding it down. Like, she's not like, oh, there's going to be a new Justice League
She's
squad.
doing her own thing. She's doing Red Notice
Right.
and whatnot.
Jason Momoa's been the only constant for
And
the
I
whole
think-
DC universe.
He's just kind of like, yo.
Total, that was a good Momoa. I think that the
it was better
delay
than Donovan.
just makes it worse. That they want
Yeah,
to delay
just
the
put stuff
movie.
out.
Yeah.
And speaking of movies that have been delayed, it was
Yeah.
almost 3 years ago.
Case in point. This
It
next
was
topic.
almost 3 years ago. It might be dead before we even. Okay, it was almost 3 years ago, guys, that we got our first footage or trailer for
Really? That's crazy.
Morbius.
That
And
seems
the time has finally come.
wild.
Sonny, how excited are you for Morbius? The reviews are in, and they're garbage.
I'm about a 18% excited.
Hey, you sound like a Rotten Tomato.
Boom. That is what Rotten Tomatoes gave it, 18% when we woke up this morning, guys.
Yeah, I think it's around like 15 now.
Yeah, with more
yeah.
reviews
I think,
coming.
105 reviews or
the more the
something.
reviews come, there's been wild things online saying false advertisement. There's a bunch of scenes that they put into the trailer.
That may not be
Oh, I
included
thought
in
you
the
meant it was
film.
false advertisement as far as the reviews
No,
are
no, no,
concerned. I
no,
was
no,
like,
no, 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 no. The trailer
don't know
put
about that.
the trailer put a bunch of stuff that I think made it, I guess, supposed to be a little bit more interesting and gripping with the Spider-Man murder thing, and we're supposed to see who's Spider-Man. None of these scenes are in the movie, and apparently neither is Michael Keaton.
Well, yeah. So what I heard is, so this is all coming from.
movie sucks.
This is coming from someone who has not watched the movie.
Right.
and has
I
just
have not
we-
watched the
none of us
movie.
have seen it.
I've not watched the movie.
I've heard that the
We're not
Michael
planning
Keaton
to see it
stuff
tonight.
is after credit thing.
It's
So
a
it's
post
not.
credits.
It's not a spoiler to say Michael Keaton's in the movie. He's in the trailer. Stop it.
Yeah.
So
And if you're worried about spoilers for Morbius, come
yeah,
on.
for real. Apparently he's in both after credit scenes or something like that,
Yeah.
and apparently they are very confusing.
Yeah, it
Very
it-
confusing.
Can't wait.
around the lines of what happened at the end of No Way Home, and it kind of just like flips, like the spell doesn't make sense. People are going to certain universes for no reason. Things are happening. So what do you think they actually did with this movie? Was it just a
I think
trash
they cut
movie
it down
and
a
they
lot.
knew that it was bad and they were just like, we gotta put
It's
this out?
reshoots, it's montage scenes because they run out of time and they don't know what they're doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're relying on villains to carry your film. You want to make them a hero.
Right.
I mean, we're all going to have a little differing opinion about these movies I'm going to mention, but
For sure.
Venom and Venom Let There Be Carnage to me are not movies that I want to watch again.
No.
And
That's
there's
fair.
nothing
No.
there's nothing about either one of those films that makes me think, man, I can't wait. If that's on,
I'm watching.
I'm
You're like,
I'm going
I'm
to watch
stuck.
that.
Right.
Now, there are a lot of DC films and most of the MCU films when they come on, I mean, we have the access to all that stuff
Right.
on the Plus. We have access to all that stuff.
Right.
But with regards to Venom or Venom Let There Be Carnage, I just don't care. And the fact that they're developing a Madam Web movie, and we talk about this,
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney
Shout out Sydney Sweeney.
and Dakota Johnson, guys, I don't understand. And with Leto, I mean, he could end up.
Maybe we're
he-
not meant to understand.
He could be in rarefied
Let
air,
him go.
though, Sonny. He could be in rarefied air. Is that he could be in the worst Marvel film and the worst DC film.
How about Michael Keaton?
And he is an Oscar-winning actor.
yeah,
That's crazy.
for Dallas Buyers Club, which is a good movie.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
is.
very different movie than the type of things we
yeah,
talk
but
about.
like hot
It's
take.
not in the MCU.
Hot take. He's not that good. Like he's a cool guy, but I don't think like Leto's like. Look, Blade Runner was on, and I was like, I'm gonna watch this, the second one. But he's only in it for a little bit.
he's not in it much, and that movie is
He's really kind of creepy
fantastic
and
carried by
strange.
a bunch
Sometimes
of
less
other
is
things.
more.
Right.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, the only I haven't heard too many complaints about his performance in this. I've heard like he's fine. He does what
Right.
he needs
It's
to
just
do.
the story
It's just
and
the
what
story,
they cut
It's chopped up.
isn't right.
But I was gonna say on the end of Leto maybe being in the two worst like individual huge comic book
sucks.
stories or movies is Michael Keaton is now in two very confusing multiverses. He's in Morbius, which is incredibly confusing. It's like, where
Right.
does this fit? Does it even matter? And he's in The Flash.
Right.
This is incredibly confusing. What does it matter? How is this
Right.
going to go?
Right.
Weird for him to end up in both of those things. And you know
True.
what? Michael Keaton probably doesn't care. He's going all the way to the
Oh,
bank with
yeah.
that
He
money.
does not care.
God.
He does not.
Between
care.
both, I'm sure he made a
I
lot
think there's
of
an
money.
interview where they're like asking him specifics, and he's like, "Dude,
I don't know.
I don't know. They showed up at my door with a script. I said, okay, yeah, whatever. Then they showed me a check, and I said,
let's do it.
oh, they do it.
Facts.
Do you think that this movie could be the worst comic book film?
It's sounding like it.
uh,
Worse than Green Lantern?
that one's pretty bad. Worse than Catwoman.
That one's really
That
bad.
one's
pretty bad.
really bad. And I know it's Sonny's favorite movie, but worse than Daredevil.
Dude,
That movie has its moments.
that
I
movie
guess.
has its moments. It's pretty kind of.
I haven't
It's
Michael-
seen
like
it yet, and I know it's
When
worse
Colin
than
Farrell
Daredevil.
shoots the peanut into the old lady's mouth in the airplane,
I was
come
like-
on, that's fun.
And
That's
I was
like,
like,
this is
that's like
tight.
good campy. Like
Michael Clark Duncan is good as Kingpin in the movie.
he is.
That's
so
a movie-
I'll take that back.
That's
I'll take that back.
That's a movie
It's-
that we all know is bad,
Yeah.
but we enjoy like moments in it.
That's how I
Dude.
feel about the Venom movies. You were talking about, and everything you said about them is valid. They're a guilty pleasure for me, both of them.
That's
but
definitely a guilty pleasure.
the
You are
insult
guilty.
is in the name almost. Guilty pleasure. Like I feel guilty for liking them.
Mm-hmm.
So
A lot of people have been playing on the Morbius name of Morbius.
That's
Wow,
funny.
Okay, yeah.
Cameron said in the comments, worse than the last Fantastic Four.
I said I was Morbiusly
Wow.
curious.
Yeah, I would say that I haven't seen Morbius, but I would say that it's worse than the last Fantastic Four. I personally,
that movie's very bad.
I kind of
It's
forgot
bad,
about
but
that.
I
Actually,
ki-
just
I
now you
kinda
brought it up.
liked-
Michael B.
I
Jordan.
I hated
Yeah.
everything.
I
That
kind of
movie.
liked it.
That one? Oh,
I kind of liked it.
no.
What should
I
we-
kinda- no! I'm
What should we
thinking
call
of
each
thinking
other?
of Silver Surfer
You're thinking
Fantastic
Rise
I
of
like
the
that
Four.
one. I like that one.
All right, I'm thinking of Rise of Silver Surfer.
No.
No. The Josh Trank one? No. I think
like
that
that
might
one.
be the worst comic book movie ever made.
Oh,
Which one?
That one's
The
bad.
Josh Trank's Fantastic
Fantastic
Four
Four.
with Miles
It's
Teller.
it's pretty
and,
bad.
Yeah, that's a bad movie.
What should we call ourselves? Oh, I know. And then credits.
stupid. That movie is so
this is so
stupid.
dumb.
I hate that movie.
How good of a
um,
vampire movie is it? Also, my question.
Apparently, because it's PG-13, there's like a synthetic blood thing going on, and he drinks like blue blood or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, that
That's what it
answers your
is.
question.
It's like he's drinking a Capri Sun or
I
something.
hope Wesley Snipes' blade shows up at the end and
Blue
just
Frost Gatorade.
ends it.
Fun Easter egg.
Just ends it.
At the end of Blade 2, I
Yes.
believe it in.
Yes.
Michael Morbius is in that.
Yes, there's test
No,
shot footage.
I'm pretty sure it's in the
It's
movie.
not in the movie.
Are you sure?
When he's at the end and
Oh, maybe you're right.
he's
On
there's
top of like a building or
there's
something.
a Morbius character standing on top of a building. It's test shot footage. It's not real, but he was supposed to be
Well, I
in
mean,
there.
it's-
Does he drink Capri Sun?
It's test shot, but it was real, but
Yeah.
it wasn't.
He's got his Gatorade Frost.
What a great cross promotional thing, though. You just mentioned Capri Sun. What if Capri Sun was the sponsor of Morbius, a vampire?
I mean,
It is a children's drink, and it sounds like a children's movie. So
real.
That would be. I mean, it's
they're-
a
of course,
no-brainer.
all these
man.
movies we watch are for children, and we're just big giant kids anyway.
you know, and the thing about these Sony movies are they're very short, but they don't necessarily feel like that.
Good.
Like well, that either. Like I said, I enjoy Let There Be
They're very
Carnage.
short, but
I
they're
was
not
talking
good.
I was talking to you guys earlier, and I was like, you could literally watch Venom Let There Be Carnage twice in the amount of time it would take you to watch the Batman, and somehow they feel like the same length of a movie.
Yeah.
That's saying something. Pacing, folks. Pacing.
If I watched Venom twice, I think it would feel longer than the Batman.
I think
sure.
it feels almost longer than just in the
If you
first
even
run.
were able to get through it 2 times,
right.
you know, wow,
Yeah.
that's bad.
That's wild.
Paul's seen Batman like 4 times, I
Seen
think.
it, like, I've seen it 3 times, but yeah,
14 hours worth of footage.
Boom.
that's a lot of fun. I like that movie.
Guys, want to go over a little bit of news and notes. I was going to press a little bit more and ask you like what was the most disappointing film. What did you think
Wonder
about
Woman
that? a little
84.
Oh, I already
The
know
most
mine.
disappointing movie that you saw and you had high hopes for.
Yeah,
Green
And
Hornet.
you can keep it okay.
Oh, wow.
I walked.
Yeah, Green Hornet was
I
not good.
walked out of Green Hornet.
Wow. Okay.
I went there thinking, oh, this is going to be fun. Like the trailers look cool. It was all this stuff. I remember sitting down. I got 45 minutes into it and I was like, I'm out of here. This is awful.
sucks,
Alrighty
man.
then.
It was green for me, Green Lantern,
Yeah.
yeah.
because I
really
like
wanted
Ryan
that.
Reynolds.
I really wanted that to be good.
I was looking forward to that. I always thought they should have had John Hamm play Hal Jordan instead of
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Ryan
That would've been
Reynolds,
good.
but they needed an older Hal Jordan, I thought. But
I was really excited for the
Didn't work.
1995 classic Showgirls, but never got to it, and it wasn't as good as I thought. I
I'm
was an
sorry,
adult.
sorry,
So, hang on.
you're being you're
Sonny,
just-
there's only one reason why you would watch that movie, and we're not going to talk about it on this show. Paul?
So I said Wonder Woman 84. I had very high hopes for that.
Same.
I thought Patty Jenkins has not gone wrong up until that point.
Quan got mad when we watched it.
He did.
No, he was legitimately upset.
And then my
He's
other
upset
one,
now thinking about it.
now that I think about it, is definitely Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
I had high hopes when they announced it because I had liked most of the things Zack Snyder did to that point. I didn't love the way he took Superman, but I don't hate that movie. I thought it was fine. I thought it worked for what they were doing. But as more trailers come out, I'm like, don't do Doomsday. There's no point in doing Doomsday in this movie. At this point, it just feels like you're doing stuff to be able to say you did it.
Yeah.
And then you do Doomsday. Like, why? An already character that a lot of people argue is uninteresting and you don't really need to tell a
Super
story about.
uninteresting.
And you just make him even less interesting and even more just kind of slapped together and thrown in there. And I had such high hopes for that movie. And legitimately, when I'm watching it, and the reason that Batman doesn't kill Superman is because their mothers have the same name. It goes, oh, well, he realizes he's human too. He should have done that a long time ago. Batman's an idiot if it took him realizing that their moms had the same name as
Why
that.
did she say that name?
Why did you say that
mother's name.
name? Like it's
was
like
weird.
what?
That was a really good Ben Affleck.
Like I don't know. And I was very disappointed. And I was
telling
like,
you, the warehouse scene was the only cool thing out of that
I was
whole
kind of disappointed
movie.
in that too
That
because he
that warehouse
freaking
scene
lights
was-
a dude on fire and throws him out of the building. I'm like,
Yeah,
sick.
that was dope.
Yeah, sick,
Sick.
for Batman.
That was a cool scene.
Batfleck Batman.
Yeah, but that
He's
doesn't.
buffer.
I'm
Oh, so he-
disappointed that Donovan thought a Seth Rogen movie would be good and not about weed the whole time.
Oh, well, listen. What
Green
sold me?
Hornet.
So I used to watch, my dad had he had like videos and DVDs of Green Hornet, and I watched it at his
all the
house. Dude, I used to love it. Kato, dude, Bruce Lee is Kato. Like,
Yeah.
dude, he used to kick tail, man. So I was like, oh,
Kick
cool.
butt.
A modern version of Green Hornet. This should be okay. I mean, Seth Rogen is, yeah, we
and
get
then
it. Like he's,
the Kato
he's-
they use.
My mom is with you, by the way.
I think he was
She-
one
Oh,
of the
did she?
She loved the Green Hornet TV show.
yeah.
and
See,
stuff.
there you go. See, I watched.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. Like, so, and then Bruce Lee, and then the trailers again, because that's what they're supposed to do. They get you to entice you to come see the movie.
Sure.
I remember watching it thinking that looks like it's a lot of fun. Looks like it's a lot of action. I'm down to go see it.
Right.
I went by myself, sat down, and I was like, "This is garbage." And then Christoph Waltz is the bad guy in the movie, and he
Don't even remember
is
that.
phoning it in. You can tell he's like, "I just won an Oscar. Time to make $5 million."
I forgot that
Here
was
we
even
go.
a thing
Yeah.
until you just said that.
And to,
Yeah.
to defend Seth Rogen a little bit on the superhero end of things, is he produced the Invincible cartoon. They own that
Yeah.
rights, and they're doing that, and
Him
that's
and Evan
fantastic.
Goldberg.
Yeah.
I finally
Name
finished
one
that.
movie
by-
he's acted in that he didn't act as himself.
Wait. Yeah.
the
Knocked Up.
Tom the
He's
what
not.
is it?
He's
Pam
not
and
covered
Tommy.
in tattoos and the tough guy.
The Pam and Tommy show. Pam and Tommy show. He's really good in
Is he
it.
good in
He's
that?
really good in it.
I have not seen that.
I
Stan-
like Seth Rogen,
Yeah, I don't mind.
just
the
not in
movie.
Green Hornet.
Yeah, it's fine.
Just not in Green Hornet.
Wanted to go over a couple of news and notes for you guys for this week. This past weekend was the Oscars, of course. We're going to talk about some highlights. Best Picture was Coda, the guy who won Best Supporting Actor. He is a deaf actor. His name is Troy Kotzer. He played a big role in developing all of the sign language for the
This is a cool
Tusken Raiders.
Yeah, it's a cool
Oh,
on,
nice.
on
Very cool story.
Mandalorian
That's
and
sick.
Book of Boba Fett.
That's
So
really
that's a pretty cool thing.
That is very cool.
Dune.
He played one of the
Which
Tusken
is-
Raiders, actually.
Something that should be the highlight of the show.
Dude,
Something like that.
Dune?
No, not
Oh,
just
that for
that
Troy
guy
that
Kotzer.
doing
story
that.
and
Absolutely.
him
Yeah.
winning and him being involved in Star Wars.
Yeah.
That should be
It's really
a fun
cool.
big story that comes out of the
Yeah.
Oscars.
But
Or that a rapper who was a hip hop artist from Philadelphia made a documentary
Born
about
and
music
raised.
in Harlem and won an Oscar for it. Questlove got shadowed because of that moment. And Questlove, that should have been Questlove's moment because from where he came from to where he's at now is unbelievable. The guy won an Academy. Questlove from the Roots the guy who drums won an Academy Award. Like
Yeah.
that's awesome. But all we're talking about is keep your wife's name out your mouth. Like that.
Right.
That's all we're talking about. And it's
No,
sad.
And also, I don't know if it was
Was a good,
earlier in the day
semi-good
or the day
right
before, Samuel L. Jackson won his first Oscar.
Yeah.
But
That's what I'm
no one's
saying.
talking about. It was presented by Denzel Washington. These are all super cool things,
Yeah,
but
and
instead,
guys, Zack Snyder won an Oscar. If you ask,
did he really?
no.
Yeah, no.
The Snyder cultists think that Justice League won an Oscar. No. They won a Twitter poll that the Academy Awards put out. Sorry, Snyder folks.
No. So they didn't. Okay, so they didn't actually even win that.
No.
The thing was hashtag what movie, whatever and it had to have a theatrical release.
And they spammed it.
Which Zack Snyder Justice
course.
League did not. Of
course they
so you
spammed
can
it.
spam it all you want. It's not even an option. But instead we're talking about Will Smith. And look, you can get into like whether you believe like stand up for your woman and whatnot. Man, it's a joke, and you can't go up and start hitting people over a joke, especially not on television in front of millions of people. That's like a crazy thing to do. Like if anyone else does that, they're dragged out of there.
Well, I
But
heard
because it's
Well, they
Will
asked
Smith.
him to leave, and he said no.
Did they really?
They asked him to leave.
Oh!
after they
asked him.
They asked him to leave.
If
and he said
if someone
no.
else does that,
You
they
get
they
pulled
they're
out
not
by security.
asking you if
I slap
hey, man,
somebody
I
in
know
the
you
middle of
just
the
went up there-
Cosmopolitan and it's not an award show, I'm getting
I
14
know you
security
just went up
guards
there
dragging me
and
out.
battered the host for doing what we paid him to do. But can you leave? Oh no, okay, sorry.
And if anything, it wasn't even like. First of all, it wasn't a good joke. Like it wasn't like a.
funny.
But even then, it was
wasn't that funny.
kind of a compliment. Like G.I. Jane is a powerful female character. Like, why wouldn't you not want to be in G.I. Jane too?
And-
I get it, alopecia, but
yeah, male
there's
pattern
also
Barnolds is just as much of
there's
as a
also-
medical condition, and we make fun of that all the time.
there's
Yeah.
also records of her
Really?
going. I
What's
don't
going
care
on?
what anybody says about my bald head. You could say whatever you want. I love it. Well, apparently not,
Not.
because I sent the guys a meme of Will Smith laughing, and then next to Jada, she's saying all the stuff that the Winter Soldier.
Zemo says to
Yeah, what Zemo says to the
Like
Winter
to
Soldier,
the
to
wheelchair
activate him.
soldier.
And you know why else it sucks?
Mission report.
I love Will Smith.
Yeah.
He's
Same.
always been one of my favorite actors growing
Same.
up. I've always wanted to see him win an actor or a Best Actor
An
nominee.
actor.
And trying to get back at me for last week. He's been doing it all episode.
We do it every week.
And it's marred by him doing something like virtue signaling, almost. Like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I stood up for my woman." It's like, you know.
You also assaulted somebody too.
Right, who spoke words to you. And I think that's a
Mm-hmm.
great point people make. You can't meet words with violence. That's not
Yeah,
how
But
things
if,
work.
but if Dwayne Johnson was standing up there and made that joke,
What
would
if-
Will
what if
Smith
that
go up there and
was
slap him?
He wouldn't
Hit him
have
like,
moved.
No, of course not. And that's the other thing too. It's like
Calm
the
down,
thing that
Jared.
I'm like,
good joke.
Two other things we're going to mention that did come out of the Oscars. Dune, the movie that we loved it.
I like
Paul
it,
didn't.
yeah.
Paul didn't.
No, you
Paul
think
loved
I
it.
didn't like it because I don't
because it
love
didn't
it as
have
much
an
as-
ending.
Yeah,
Six
that's
Oscar
legitimately why.
wins for Dune. It won
And they
six
deserve every single one of
awards.
them. Yeah.
And
I
again,
watched Dune last night.
I wanted to go back to Coda really quick. It is kind of like a perfect storm for a movie like that
Shout
about
out George
family
Clooney.
that the majority of the cast, they are all hearing impaired. They're all deaf. The
That's
majority of the actors are deaf. They're not going to be in that position to be
Right.
nominated for a film like that, much less be in a film that would be nominated for
Right.
that movie. And it wins Best Picture.
Sick.
That's awesome.
Super cool.
Very
it's
cool.
just it's just a really cool thing for them to have the opportunity to be in a movie that features deaf actors, tells their story. It's about an act. If you haven't seen the movie, it's super heartfelt. The daughter wants to be a singer. Her sibling and her parents are all deaf, and it's an awesome story. And if you guys get a chance to see it,
and what's
it's
great
really
is that
cool.
the movie doesn't do what a lot of Hollywood movies do with someone with a condition,
Mhm.
a medical condition, or birthing condition. They don't go like they're deaf. Yeah,
Right.
Right, they make them seem powerful. It's not like a.
Like
That's good.
we're here to help you. We
Right.
are here to help. Like no, they
Oh,
don't do
man.
any of that stuff. They're like
It's like I
no.
don't need help.
this is
Oh,
exactly.
man.
I don't need help. This is the world we live in.
Yes.
This is what we
They're
do.
just going with it. They're,
And this is
yeah.
how
Yeah.
is how we do life. It's Quan's laughing at my pseudo sign language. that I did.
man.
But
This man said,
That wasn't ASL.
but honestly, like
No, yeah, I completely agree.
it's a beautiful movie. It's really, really well done. And I've
It is.
always loved Marlene Matlin. She's also won an Academy Award back in the day for playing. You know, she's hearing impaired and deaf, and she won an Oscar for doing that stuff. She's incredible,
Yeah.
dude. The movie is really, really good. This is a tough one for me because I thought it was either between that and Dune that should have won Best Picture. I would have been happy with either or. But yeah, man, that
I'm glad
should have been
they
a fantastic night for
What
everyone.
was the
but
Cumberbatch movie? Power
Power
of the Dog.
Not a dog in sight in the movie. Not one dog in the movie.
Well,
Not
I was
one.
so disappointed. I was like, "Where's the dog at?
well,
No
you,
dog, no golden retriever. They're on a farm. What's going on?"
you guys are my dogs. Sonny, what do you got for him as we get out of here and go eat tacos and drink beer?
I was going to sign it, but I love
Please
you
do.
guys, and we'll see you next week.
All right, that's safe. I love that. Okay,
I'm playing it safe.
Donovan, you have anything?
I love talking to this stuff with you guys. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I know
So
Quan and
good.
Sonny are laughing at me for what I did, but I was just trying to make a
Sweating
point.
right now.
So, keep your eyes out for tomorrow. We're gonna have the best of March video coming out tomorrow.
casting a spell.
It's gonna be about 11 minutes long. I know a lot of you guys aren't able to sit and watch the whole hour-long episode, and you're like, give us some bite-sized stuff. You're getting it. Tomorrow we'll have the bite-sized best moments of. It's very ridiculous. We all watched it before. Gave us some good laughs. We're weirdos. And thank you for hanging out with us because we're weirdos. Go find our Instagram at Into the West Comics and our
Yeah.
Twitter at Into_comics and
Go find it
hit us up.
and hit us up.
Do it, man.
What he said. We'll see you next week.
What he
Add
said
us to
that
your
I
pull
said.
box. Go read some comics. Go watch Coda.
Take care, brush your hair.
Wow. Yes. Brush your hair, please.
I like this shot. This is kind of cool.
Me too. I couldn't help but look at it.
Except
Yeah, I
Paul's
know.
not in it. I like this.
Uh,
Man, the shot. There it is.
There he is. Nice.
Later.